morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and I got you a neat quadcopter to review today. This is the Cheerson CX23. Let's go over the quadcopter first off. First off, you notice it's a little brushless quadcopter. Pretty neat little brushless quadcopter, but what's special about it, it has a built-in GPS system to help hold its position. It also has altitude hold. If you just want to fly altitude hold without GPS, you can do that. And a third function it's got is flying circle mode, and I'll discuss those and demonstrate those here shortly. It is powered by a 1200 milliampere hour. Now it's a proprietary battery, but 1200 milliampere hour, and it plugs into the belly of the quadcopter like so. It takes a little bit of wiggling to get it out of there. You got to pull this like that, and there you go. So, and there's its plugs, and it has a proprietary charger too to go with this proprietary battery. So keep that in mind. If you want to get spare batteries, you're going to get them from Cheerson. Okay, I just turned it on. I don't want to do that. Turn it off again. Holding the button down. It's going up, starting up, and turning it back off by pressing the belly there. Just demonstrated the on-off switch, which is right there. Another thing it's got, it has a 1080p camera with a swivel lens. It can swivel up or swivel. How far down can we go? We can go all the way down if you want to look straight down. But I'm going to be looking up because I want to see the horizon while I'm flying, because I'm going to be flying FPV. That's the other thing this has. It has an FPV transmitter on 5.8 gigahertz along with on-screen display of parametric data. So you can fly this with goggles if you wish, but it comes with its own monitor screen, so you don't really need the goggles. I just prefer using them though. Okay, I'm going to set that right about there. Okay, let's go over the transmitter. This is its transmitter. It has only a few control buttons, but they're multifunctional control buttons. I'll go over them shortly. First off, we have the FPV monitor screen. This is the monitor screen that comes with it. It is 32 channels, and so that can also transmit on 32 channels of the FPV camera of that quadcopter. I'll go over and how to change those here shortly. But first, well, let's go over them right now. When you turn this quadcopter, if you want to change the channel, the FPV channel of this quadcopter, you gotta press and hold down this button here while simultaneously turning on the transmitter, and that will cycle each time you do that, turning it on and off or turning it on and off. That will cycle the frequency of the FPV transmitter, and the way it tells the quadcopter after you do that, that also puts this transmitter in bind mode. When you turn on the quadcopter, it will both bind to the transmitter again, and it will also change the frequency of the FPV signal. And to find that frequency, you'll press and hold this button here after turning on the monitor, and this has a built-in scanner and will find that. Another option, this thing about this button here, is when you turn this on and turn on the transmitter, that puts the transmitter in bind mode, and all you got to do is turn on the quadcopter afterwards and they will automatically bind. Now you only need to do that the first time that you receive it. After that, it should remember the bind frequency, and you don't need to do that again. But if you ever do lose bind with the transmitter, just remember, press the home button, return to home button, while simultaneously turning on the transmitter. Now this return to home button is also a return to home button. Once it's in the quadcopter's in the air and it's in GPS mode, if you press and hold this button down, the quadcopter will return home and land at its position. There's also an automatic takeoff button and an automatic land button. So if you press and hold these, the quadcopter will either take off, or press and hold, it will land wherever it's at. This is the return to home. This is the land wherever it's at button. Remember that, folks. Don't press that thinking that's return to home. It's not. This button is also multifunction, so if you press it quickly, it changes the on-screen. You have two versions of on-screen display. One it's received on the receiver, FPV receiver, and one it's received on your LCD screen with additional information, like latitude and longitude. That's displayed here, along with range, speed. I'll show them here shortly. But you cycle through the OSD screens by a quick press of this button here. Okay, this is your mode button. You can change between GPS and altitude hold by pressing this quickly, and it'll say, there's a little signal up here that says A for altitude hold and B is for GPS. And if you want to do circle me, you press and hold this button and it will circle a position wherever the quadcopter is at. And you can adjust the range of that circle, or the diameter of that circle, or radius of that circle to be more accurate, by pushing up or down on the pitch stick. And finally, you can take photos and videos by pressing this button here for a quick photo, or the long press for video, starting and stopping the video camera. These scroll wheels on the top are inoperative for this particular model. And two other things to mention about is calibrations. Gyro calibration, you put the quadcopter on a flat level surface, and while it's bound to the transmitter, hold the stick down and move this stick right and left until the back lights blink and you got a gyro calibration. And if you need to do, they tell you to do a compass calibration before for the GPS before each flight. And to enter in that mode, you got to do a rapid press of this button until it starts the compass calibration, and I'll demonstrate that here shortly. So let's go for a flight of this thing and see how it performs. First thing off, we need to turn on the transmitter. Oops, there's the on off for the transmitter. Transmitter coming on. And turn on my quadcopter. Put it on a flat level surface. And remember I mentioned this is 5.8 gigahertz transmitter on the FPV? Well, we can view that through goggles and record it through goggles too. So we can also record through the 1080p camera, but I am going to be recording through goggles, and I want to make sure that I am on the right frequency here. So I'm plugging this in, lifting this up, and that should be coming on. We are in the right frequency, but am I on DVR or recorder? Camera DVR. And hitting record. Obviously not. There we go. It's recording. Okay. Now we're going to turn on the monitor, and that will tell us how many satellites we have. Right now we are ready to go with 8 satellites, but again, it recommends doing a GPS calibration before and after each flight, or compass calibration. So again, to do that, you got to rapidly press the mode button until this tells you to do the compass calibration. And I'm trying to show it so you can see it, but pressing. And it doesn't want to do it. Maybe I'm pressing the wrong button. Try that button. Well, it's proven me a liar, folks. Today it doesn't want to do a compass calibration, so we're going to go. Oh, there we go. That was ridiculous. Come on, folks. Cheerson, you got to fix that. But now we're in compass calibration mode. I rapidly pressed that thing about 20 times. But first we got to do a horizontal calibration. And actually you got to turn it clockwise until it tells you to do vertical calibration. Okay, now we got to do vertical. It tells you to switch from horizontal to vertical. And again, you just spin it nose down this time until the calibration is completed. So there, that's how you do a compass calibration. Not very easy. Okay, right now we are in altitude hold mode, but I want to switch to GPS mode, and the way to do that is to a quick press of the mode button, and this will change to B. And also I want to turn on the camera, holding the button down, and we are recording, and you can tell by this red flashing dot here. So let's do an automatic takeoff, and holding this button down, and we are in GPS mode. We have 10 satellites, so its position holds should be pretty well. And first thing I want to do is an automatic return to home. So we're going to send it over here, and let's see what its return to home is like. Okay, we're over there and pressing return and holding return to home, then enter into GPS return to home. And what's it do? First climbs, and then heads back. Comes back pretty fast too. It's about, I'd say about 20 meters up. And let's see if it comes down and lands, how close it lands to its takeoff position. Well, relatively close. Can I stop that landing? Yeah, let it land. Not bad, not bad at all. Okay, let's do that takeoff again. Holding the button down. And let's try some FPV flying. I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to go into the shade over here, folks. We got some shade today. I'm going to try to fly using this screen. See what type of range we got. First off, I'll go to this end of the field. And keeping it up there above the horizon, so I can see it. And we'll plop it right about there. What are we at? That's only about 92 meters horizontal distance and 9 meters vertical distance. And if you can see that, folks, I don't know if you can see that or not, but this is your horizontal distance, this is your vertical distance, this is your horizontal speed, this is your vertical speed. Again, B tells you that you are in GPS mode right now. And also you have voltage of the transmitter, 4.1 volts, and 7.5 volts on the quadcopter, remaining voltage on the quadcopter. And turning it around, and bringing it back. Let's see how fast this can go. Coming down a little bit lower too. Pushing forward. Lowering it, lowering it. Giving it some speed. This full forward pitch. That's how fast it can go. Let's go over this field here. Flying FPV. Going up again. I don't want to go over by the road, but going past the light pole right now. And I'm strictly flying FPV right now because it's getting lost it. So plopping it right there. Now this is supposed to have 500 meters range, folks. 500 meters. When they say 500 meters, that's 500 meters control distance with the controller, but not necessarily FPV range. That's dependent on the transmitter FPV power. And the range seems to be a little over 100 meters there for FPV signal. So it's not 500 meters FPV range. Okay, let's bring it down close again. Yeah, plopping it there. Okay, now this also can be flown without GPS. How much voltage do I got? 7.4, still good. I am going to press the mode button, and that should put us in altitude hold mode. And altitude hold mode, this becomes a little more zippy, but not extremely so. A little bit more maneuverable than in GPS mode, but not super zippy. Okay, I'm going back to GPS mode because I want to demonstrate the rotate feature of this. So pressing the mode button again, and it goes back to GPS hold and it stops itself there. Now I'm going to point it toward me, and I'm holding down the mode button. And this should be circle me. Well, it circles a position where it was at. And if you want to be in that, you're going to have to move yourself into that position. it picks a position. In other words, it doesn't know where the center position is. It's just appears to be 10 meters. It selects 10 meters and circles that position. Let's see if I can move it inboard, pushing up on the throttle or on the pitch, and that should adjust. Let me rotate it a bit too. Pushing up again. Seeing if this actually narrows the circle position. Well, when you do that, it does narrow it, but it also adjusts where the center of that circle me is. So you got to move over again. So that's the circle me feature, folks. We're down to 7.3 volts. I'm looking on my voltage here. Let's see what other features or other things we can see with the on-screen display. We have pitch, roll, and yaw. And latitude and longitude shows up on that display. You can, okay, going back to the other, and tells you the version, frequency of your FPV, and the serial number of the quadcopter. Okay, and pressing one more, and we're back to horizontal speed, vertical speed, and altitude, and horizontal distance. Okay, they say you can also increase the speed of the rotation by moving this stick right or left. So let's see if that's true. Okay, I'm holding the stick to the right, and it sure does. Okay, now how do you get out of circle me? Let's press that button one more time, holding it down, and it's still in circle me mode. Let's do a quick press and see if that changes it. Altitude hold. Okay, to come out of it, you got to do a quick press, and it goes to altitude hold first, and then GPS position hold. Now, one thing to keep in mind, folks, this appears to default to altitude hold. So if you take off and it's drifting at takeoff, that means you are in altitude hold mode. So you got to be careful there. Okay, let's try going out into the field. I'm still recording. I don't want to go too far over there because they're watering. Heading over by the pool there. Okay, which way am I pointed? I'm trying to fly strictly by FPV. Coming back toward me. See if I can find me. There I am. Okay, I forgot to ask, folks. Bring it in closer. I like my t-shirt today. Okay. We still have 10 satellites. Yeah, it's a neat little quadcopter. If you're looking for a little GPS quadcopter, something that's non-intrusive, obtrusive, what's the correct word I'm using there? That won't bother a lot of people. You could either get yourself a, okay, I felt a vibration. What's that? Oh, that's a low battery warning. So with that in mind, let's do a return to home. I think that was a low battery warning. We're at 7.2 volts. I'll call that a low battery warning. Yeah, it's vibrating, warning you it's time to think about landing. So let's try the automatic landing. That's the one thing I haven't done yet. That's the automatic. Bringing it down lower. That's the voltage warning, and yeah, the back light is red. Putting it over the pad. And automatic landing. So, neat quadcopters, Cheerson CX23. That's its flight time you get with that 1200 milliampere hour battery, 7.4. Again, I was flying it rather fast too, so you know I wasn't just doing hovering flights. So keep that in mind. That kind of reduces the flight time. Before I do anything at all, let me make sure I shut off that camera. So I got that recording. Camera's off. So pretty neat quadcopter, CX23. Hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out.